Welcome to Freedom After 40, the show for Gen Xers ready to create income online, escape the 9 to 5, travel the world, and live life on your terms. Here's your host, Orville J. Parker, aka Coach. Not a guru, just a fellow Gen Xer, a few steps ahead, who guides you through the mindset shifts, money moves, and digital strategies that helped him leave the grind behind and start living free. If you're tired of feeling stuck and know there's more life to live, this show is your roadmap to building the second half comeback you deserve. Let's create, escape, travel, and live.
Hey, what's up? What's up? This is your man, Orville J. Parker, aka Coach. Guys, welcome to this episode of the Freedom After 40 podcast. If you're a first-time viewer, I want to thank you for stopping by, taking some time to check out what we're doing over here. And if you are a loyal viewer, man, if you're one of the famos, one of the supporters that say, okay, we are Freedom 40 for life, I want to thank you guys for also rocking with us, man, and just continuing supporting what I'm doing over here with the show. All right, guys, today I got a couple things, man, I'm going to talk to you guys about. And we're going to get down. We're going to talk about the main topic today, to AI or not. And yeah, I'm going to have some fun with this one right here because I'm fresh off of a conversation with some loved ones that we had. And I just kind of want to build on top of that conversation and just really talk about some things. And this is really important because moving forward, we're going to be talking a lot about AI and technology on the show and how it can be used to help you get out there and do what you want to do faster, better, with more trajectory. And so, yeah, got some interesting things to talk about on that. And I love the fact that the conversation came up at the time because, like I said, I've been looking to start moving into conversating a little bit more about some things around that from our perspective, because you got to realize this right here, guys. And it's something I want you always to understand, that nothing is in life is stagnant. If it's standing still, it's literally dying, because nothing is stagnant. So either you're progressing or you're regressing. Either you are growing or you're dying. When you think about anything out there that's living, okay, it could be a tree, it could be a human being, it could be a pet dog. All right. When you look at any one of those, first thing you understand that each day that particular thing changes. And if you're able to watch it and monitor it over any length of time, you start noticing that this thing that we call age, all right, starts showing itself, right? And nothing on planet Earth, man, that is a living organism stays the same, all right? Things are always either advancing or slowing down, growing or decaying, okay? Now, we as Gen X, we as the group of people who are out here being bold, being adventurous, rewriting what things mean to us, not being afraid to adapt technology and things like that out there. We have a different, what would I say? We have a different motive, but we also have something at stake with getting this decision wrong. Okay. Now, the generations before us, the baby boomers, not saying that they can't get out here and still be competitive and do things, but for the overall wave of the boomers, that this is not really going to be relevant to them. Okay, it's not going to be really relevant to them. But now, if we look up under us, what's coming behind us, all the other Z's and stuff like that, those generations really never knew a world without high levels of technology. All right. That generation there easily adopts new technology. Okay, so they are cooking down there, man. They're taking new technology such as AI and stuff like that, man, and they are getting in there and they are really, really, really learning how to use the technology and creating some of the breakthroughs that we're seeing with that technology. They are the ones that are testing things out, all right, and developing things out. And that those younger generations coming after us, man, they're in those they in beast mode, man. They are doing things that we never thought we could do. All right. Because in a nutshell, man, they're not fighting new technology. They're not fighting change. All right. They're not trying to figure out, you know, if is this good or bad. All right. They understand right off the bat that they're very clear on that technology is neutral. Now how you use it is different. And that kind of pulls me to where this conversation was taking place last night. And I was and this was the whole thing. One of my relatives brought up an article. It was a bad article of supposedly how a person was able to harm themselves by talking to their AI. And and my whole comment was on the thing was that I can't just take anything I hear at face value about anything because I've learned a long time ago that there are many variables. One is the validity of the information. Was it true or not true that this happened? You know, we all know about all the different things, propaganda, deep fake, and all this kind of stuff that's out there. All right. But then the other thing was the variables. All right. Are we comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges when we put this broad term as AI out there? And I'm going to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. If you have interacted with AI on any level for any length of time, using it, then you understand right off the bat that AI is not a name for some particular individual thing. All right, it's more like a category. If you, it's more like a category name. It's the name of software that behave in a certain way. Now, if you've been out there interacting with AI and different tools out there and platforms, you understand that there are thousands of AIs out there. All right. But the ones we hear about a lot are the bigger ones. All right. The large ones. Okay. That's why they call them LLMs, large language machines. All right. They're the big ones. Okay. But literally, there are thousands out there that people are creating. So, again, that's another variable. And so, anyway, this conversation got me to thinking about, first of all, what is the majority of the world thinking about when they hear the term AI? What does that mean to them? All right. Is it a good term? Is it a bad term? All right. What do they think AI is? All right. And then how do they think about AI? And you know, one of the arguments that I raised during this conversation, it wasn't the fact if AI could be used to better humanity or to hurt humanity. All right. We all, to me, every normal thinking person understands right off the bat that that's here, right? It's no different than having a rock, right? But it's a super rock, okay? And people come with the argument that, well, a rock can't think and do on its own. And that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. Based on the normal structure of what we identify as a rock. Okay. But where my mind tries to go with things is that we've been interacting as a species, we've been interacting with high levels of software. which is the foundation of what AI is, for years, to the point that we've been able to do things that we see now for years. I mean, for years and years and years. And I believe that once something is out the bag on the level that it is in, you're never going to be able to put that thing back in the bag. You're never going to be able to put that thing in the bag. Just like you're never going to be able to contain it. You know, how many people interact with it, how they interact with it, what they do with it. Once you start tapping into a certain level of technology, innovation goes crazy, because you're going to always have somebody with a different perspective that's going to have a different need, a different desire, a different want, a different level of curiosity, whether it's no no restraints or full restraints. But that whole human experience, evolution, innovation is going to kick in. It's going to kick in. And we've seen it with any type of advancement. It kicked in. At first, people was walking around and they was freezing. They didn't have a way to cook their food. Then somebody discovered fire. Then they discovered how to contain fire. So they discovered how to make fire, then how to hold it, right? Then they took that fire and started walking around the world, turning everybody else onto fire. Right then and there, humanity was changed forever, because it was such a drastic change in how we looked and did things that it was crazy. Now, people can get more healthier. They didn't have to eat their meats raw because now they had heat to cook it, okay? They could stay warmer in the wintertime. That means that they had a better chance at fighting for survival. All right? Then it was the stage of alchemy. Somewhere, somebody figured out that they could take one material, which was metal, and mix it with fire and a little pressure, and they could start shaping and creating tools that were stronger, all right, more powerful, that allowed for them to do things that they couldn't do before, like dig, chip away. All right. Are you guys follow what I'm saying? I don't care what it is out there. When something is introduced to humanity and it is a catalyst for potential, there is no way in the world, as a species, you're going to stop that from going forward. It's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. Okay. So the first thing to understand about AI is that once it's out, it's out. There is no putting that thing back in the bag, right? There is no putting brakes on it either, because AI is one of those disruptors out there, and one of them change agents, that catalysts that literally can change. I mean, I'm talking about drastically change how we go about doing things, and how we as humans interact with life. And there are so many different things, man, that you could do with AI. There is so much that you can learn, so much you can build, create, so much that you can automate, that it is crazy what we are doing with AI and what we're going to be able to do with AI. Now, if you notice, I've never said so far whether I thought it was good, evil, bad. Not, you understand what I'm saying? And to me, I think that right now, that the conversation cannot be there, because we're so far away from normality with this type of technology, and it's out there so much, and it's disrupting so much, and it's changing things so much, that I think you're so way past that. All right. And I think now the question is a personal one: how am I going to use this? How am I going to use it? Am I going to use it or not use it? And then what are my opportunity costs with both of those? If I do use it, if I don't use it, all right? If I do use it, what's down the road for me using this? What are some potential dangers of me using this? And then if I don't use it, what's down the road for me? What are some potential dangers for me not using it? And then I think every man and woman is going to have to make a decision, just like they do with anything else, man. Am I gonna purchase me a firearm, not a firearm? Am I gonna use a firearm, not a firearm? You're gonna have to make a personal decisions, personal sovereignty on if you're going to adopt this new technology and this new tool, all right, or not. And then you're gonna have to live with that decision. But one of the things I told one of my loved ones a while back, I say, I kind of had this whole spiel with them. Once something is out, it's out. Especially something on the magnitude and the level of AI. You're not going to be able to wish and hope and pray that away. It's there. And it's supposed to grow, move faster, get better, get stronger very fast. Because the nature of the technology is that anyway. All right. The nature of the technology is that anyway. But when you take human beings and they started pointing resources, ideals, and things to something that is a great multiplier and a catalyst like this, then we started getting into hyper mode, right? When it comes to what this thing is going to look like. And so if you know that there's no turning back, you cannot stop it. It's going to get done. Now, the next question you have to ask yourself is what we just said. How am I going to approach this? Am I interact or not interact with this? All right. Now, if you're not going to interact with this, that's cool. That's your personal thing. But you have a few things right off the bat I call very big observations is that one, you're going to be at a disadvantage in the future. I mean, that's just keeping it real. Because people that know how to use AI and know how to leverage AI are going to be able to outcompete against you in anything and everything. All right, whether that's being more healthier, making more money, being more knowledgeable, so they can advance and grow in their specific fields and specialties or focuses on life. People are going to level up a lot faster. They're going to level up a lot higher. And there's a very big chance that you get left behind or you're not able to be competitive or that your life is going to be stagnated while everybody else is growing because they are adopting the technology. You have to look at that. All right. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, what if I did adopt this? All right. What am I going to use it for? All right. What am I going to do with it? All right. And you have to ask yourself that too. All right. All right. Hold on one second. All right. So what I'm trying to show you guys and communicate in so many words is that there is no sitting on the fence. There's no middle ground. You're going to have to take a side. You're going to have to say yay or nay. And then you're going to have to ask yourself, what happens if I say yay or nay? And then how am I going to move forward? Now, me personally, as a Generation Xer, I'm 54 years old, okay? As somebody out here that's looking to still live life, still get out here and do things, man. I still want to explore, be adventurous. I still want to build, create, and have and be able to take the second part of my life and make it the best part of my life. Okay, I want to be able to get out here and do things that I've always wanted to do and be free and be self sufficient, self reliant. With me personally, man, I love AI. No, I'm just playing with you guys. I really do. I've been interacting with the technology now for probably about 2 years. I lean on it heavy in my life just as a husband, a father, just learning things, figuring out things, creating things, and as a entrepreneur, that's really AI heavy when it comes to how I'm building my company. Everything I do is with AI, and a lot of things I'm able to do, I can only do because I have embraced AI. And as I look at my life and just the possibilities now of things that I want to do, it's really like I've been given like a whole nother level at being able to believe and dream and think on things. Because guys, you gotta think about it, man. I mean, and this is where my conversation went with this person was that the average person don't even know what AI is. And the average person has no clue or no idea what's being done with AI. And the average person has no clue or idea what they can do with AI. But now you have some people like myself who has said, okay, this technology is here. All right, it's out. It's being used. Now let me go see what this thing is. Let me start exploring this technology. Let me start putting my hands on it to see what I can do and what's being done on it. And guys, when I tell you, as just from an entrepreneur standpoint, it has been a total game changer. Like I'm gonna kind of give you guys some ideas. Okay, since I've been working with AI, I've came up with several different business ideas. And two of the biggest business ideas, one was where I had invested in a license for some software. Okay. And then my whole goal was to build out a white label piece of software on top of this platform that I had invested in, but then to build a business model around it. And when I first started working with AI, I used AI to help me start trying to figure out that play and that business model. And guys, I learned so much from interacting with the AI to do that. All right. And then when I had hit a certain point on that, I said, okay, look, I want to transition over to doing this with AI. And I started working on just learning how to do graphics and creative things with AI, messing with video and pictures and things like that. And that led me down the path of working with avatars, creating Pixar style animations and things like that. And that led me down to photorealistic animations. And I learned that term from my AI assistant. And that opened up a whole nother world where I was able to start discovering what people call now AI twins and AI influences and things like that. Okay. And I actually built another business ideal around that. And that led me, so the first and two journeys of working with the AI gave me the ideal to figure out and reassess a business that I had always wanted to run, right? Ever since I was little, man. And this business really fit good into who I was as a person because it was all about information, learning, all right, and then being able to share what I learned and teach around what I was learning, right? I've always been an avid researcher, get out there, read, study, figure things out, pull a lot of data, bring it back to the table, analyze it type of thing, right? And so at the last iteration of me working with AI, I got the ideal that, look, I could build this one person business. All right, that itself is a mouthful when you really think about it. All right, build this one person business, and I want to build it in a business model that I've always dreamed of working in. That was publishing. And so that decision there led me down what I figure has been about a 12-month journey of just really getting in and working with AI and trying to learn several disciplines at once with the AI, you know, how to create, all right, how to create, all right, how to build. And this last 12 months of just focusing on the publishing, all right, learning how to put systems in place that allows for me to research topics really fast, really deep, all right, how to set it up to where the technology analyzed the data that was being gathered, all right, and then how to train the technology on how to communicate with me about the data, okay, and then working with the technology to figure out how the data could be used in order to create a product, all right, that was a certain form and shape, all right, in this specific niche or industry, which is publishing. So learned how to do all that, all right. And then we went through the process of doing it over and over again for about a year. And we were able to successfully, and I know I got to go back and look at the numbers, probably create about 25 different micro trainings and frameworks. And through the process, I learned a lot about how AI can be used in this capacity, but I also learned how much potential was still there that I wasn't tapping into. Okay. And then when I stopped and looked at it, I said, man, this is crazy. This is insane. The level of production and productivity that I can extract if I use AI. And I started seeing that the more that I used AI in my business, the way that I was doing it, it was like the the potential of what I can do started growing. All right. It got bigger and bigger. And now I'm to a point now, and I'm like, okay, I need to get organized. And then I need to just really get to work because I've seen what I was able to learn and do in these 14 months. And that was with unfocused. That was with not knowing what I didn't know. And now that I know what I do know, then I need to sit down and plan. All right. What I plan, just map it out, what I'm trying to do, and then really get in her, man, and really learn it. Okay. And really do it. I believe, I'm gonna just keep it real with you guys. I believe as Generation Xers, man, as people that are looking to stay competitive out here with the young folks, all right, but to take what we've all learned, our work ethics, how we do things, our life experiences, and things like that, and be able to use a tool that's going to allow us to be able to build on top of that. And this is the thing, guys, to build what we want to build, whether that's a new life as a whole, whether that's to get healthier, to get wiser, whether that's to get more financially stable, more financially independent, whether that's to untether away from a lot of things that we think at this stage in our life or holding us down or holding us back. Let's say get rid of that 9 to 5. All right. Really think about it. We as Gen X, we as the representatives of a large group of people who have, I believe, the healthiest balance of being doing things normal, but doing things out the box. Okay. I believe that right now, what we're going to be able to do in a couple years from now is going to be insane with the help of AI. It's going to be crazy, man. And I believe at no other time have we really sat at a point in time where the potential was so high for people to really tap into what it is that they can dream and visualize and then be able to get out there and execute it. Because now you have this super intelligent friend that's trained on a lot of things, that could do a lot of things. And you have this ability to tap into this level of innovation and power that we've never been able to do. And you can really build and create some cool things. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, now, man, with technology, how cheap and inexpensive technology is, and what AI is, there is no reason that we can't do anything in our lives. You know, one of the things I use my AI on is to plan out and map out my health, right? Just getting healthier. Do you guys realize that you can feed all your criterias into AI and give the AI a quick and an in-depth assessment of who you are on a health note, And then you could ask the AI to create you a customized plan to get healthy based off everything. And AI would get in and would work with you on everything, man. I mean, it's literally, it's literally mind blowing. The feedback, the data, the interaction that you would get with AI on helping you map out your health and get things together. Everything from your nutrition to your exercise, your sleep. And there's ways that you can interact with the AI to where it can monitor it, but you can literally figure out things that you could never figure out and be able to understand things that you could never understand because AI can take something complicated and translate it to you in a way to where you understand it. But then not just that, it can teach you, then start walking you through step by step of how to go out here and how to fix what it is that you're dealing with. Okay. Not being your doctor, not being your this, but kind of being like your advisor that helps explains and guides you on things to where you when you do go interact with these trusted entities and stuff, you have a better chance of understanding what is going on and then being able to understand your best choice, right? And then when you start multiplying at times productivity, organization, and then like I say in the case that I love to talk about in business, it's crazy. Because guys, I'm sitting up here and I'm building a publishing company, a one-man publishing company that used to, if I was trying to do this, it would take a full staff and a lot of investment to be able to pay that staff to either attempt to even attempt what it is that I'm trying to do. And when I say, guys, I'm able to do so much in so little time because I've took the time to really get to know and understand what I had in my hands when it came to AI. And then I was able to grasp and understand that if I wanted to have AI help me in the best way, that there was a way that I could interact with that AI that I can make it more personable, right? Almost like having a real assistant and a real person helping you. So I started doing the things that would allow me to interact with it. All right. I started learning how to communicate with the AI so I can get communication back. I started learning how to input certain things so I can output certain results. And then when they started introducing the ability for us to be able to talk with voice to the AI, oh man, it was a game changer because now I can interact and relate with that technology on the level that I couldn't do at first because it was in a form that I already understood and knew talking. And guys, when I tell you that there is so much potential out there if you want to interact with the technology. And there's going to be so many changes that we're going to see as a whole society wise because of this technology. And if you want to get free out here, if you want to get free out here, I don't believe that there's no better resource tool for you to learn how to use and interact with than AI because you could do things better, faster with it. Okay. Again, I am building out a one person business. All right. That's literally going to allow me to be able to do a lot of cool things I've always wanted to do in my life. And I'm not going to have to hire not one single employee. I'm not going to have to hire not one single expert. All right. And the more I interact with the technology, the more I start seeing that things that I used to think was unapproachable to me, unattainable to me, are not. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, it's this neutral thing. What you see is what you get. So each one of us is going to see a different thing. We're going to believe a different thing, and based off what we see and what we believe, it's going to determine what we get. But now, this is what I want you to understand. Now, regardless of what you think or what you see, it's not going to stop that thing from growing and being integrated and being used by humanity as a whole. All right. So, first thing you got to decide as a person, am I going to use it or not use it? Am I going to do it or not? And then if you say you are, all right, you're going to need to put the time in to get to understand and know what it is that you're dealing with, and then get to work, man. Get to work. Like as I move into 2026, one of the things I keep hearing blaring in my mind is get organized, Orville. Get organized so you can become more efficient at what you're doing. And as I move forward, guys, I'm moving forward with a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation on what my life is going to look like in 2026 if I could stay focused. All right. And what I'm going to be able to do is going to be insane. And this is the thing though, guys. For me, it's been a long road, a hard road, because I succumb to all the problems and the quirks of being a human being. Lack of focus, lack of consistency, getting distracted, not being clear, and all these things that I think have tripped me up over the last couple of years. But the thing is that I think in the midst of that, by taking so much action, I was able to still figure some things out on a level that has forever changed my life. And right now, I'm getting to live my dream, man. I've always wanted to work with information. I've always had this idea about building a business around research and learning, and then turning around and teaching and exposing people to those ideals and concepts. And as we speak right now, I'm living that dream. I'm here in the lab, I'm building, I'm creating, all right? And I'm doing it without any gatekeepers, any roadblocks, any hindrance, any constraints, because the technology frees me. The technology allows for me to be able to bypass anything that would have been a stop point for me. And as I continue to look at AI and what AI can do, and I continue to interact with the technology, the freer I get. The freer I get. Because I don't, and this is something I do, guys, I use AI as a tool. All right, I use it as a tool. And it's a tool to get me to where I'm trying to get to. At any time, I could stop using that tool, just like a hammer. I could just sit it down on the toolbox and be done with it. But man, while I'm swinging that hammer, it's a beautiful thing, because literally, guys, there is very few things that you can't do when you really start tapping into this technology. If you always wanted to rewire, when you look at your life, you say, okay, this has been good. I had a good journey with this thing, but now I want to switch it up. I want to do something different. And this is the direction I want to go in, and this is who I want to be, and this is what I want to do. Man, you can do it. Today, you can do it. You can do it fast. You can do it good. All right. There's no excuse. If you've always been the kind of person you say, okay, well, look, I don't have an education. I wasn't able to go to school and get a higher education, and so my understanding and knowledge is at this level. Guys, it don't have to stay at that level. It really don't. It didn't have to do it before AI, because you had access to all kind of training. A lot of people don't realize for the last 10 years, most of your major universities like Harvard, MIT, and all these big Ivy League colleges have been putting their whole curriculum on the internet for anybody to be able to go take the classes and stuff. You just couldn't get the credit, but you could have got the education and the knowledge. And then when you think about libraries, bookstores, Amazon, things like that, man, you could have built you a personal library. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it on there. You could have built you a personal library and got educated. It wasn't because you couldn't, you just didn't do. All right? You just didn't do. And so when you really think about things, man, going into the next year, you really have to start asking your questions. Asking yourself, the question is, what is my excuse now? All right, what is my excuse now for not building that business that I always wanted to build? All right, what is my excuse now for not taking a financial hold and controlling my finances, reducing my debt. What is my excuse now for not living where I want to live? You know, I'm living in a state in this area that's really expensive, crime ridden, or even a good area that doesn't inspire you. I've always wanted to go live here. Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? All right. If you've been walking around with a dream, a vision, an ideal for a product or something that you wanted to create, why don't you create it? I'm gonna give you guys an example. You know, when I was younger, I went to the bookstore, started getting these books, and tried to learn how to cartoon. And I learned how to create basic cartoons and stuff. And my dream was always to get me one of those big drafting boards that architects use and have it at home where I could sit down and do my cartooning. And guys, I kept making excuses and making excuses and making excuses on why I couldn't sit down and do that. And then finally, to a point before we purchased this home, I had ran across at the Goodwill, man. They had this huge solid wood, all right, drafting table, man, and it was huge. And I told my wife, I said, "Look, I want to get that." I say, because I want that for when we get our house. At this time, man, we didn't have a house. We were staying in a little apartment. And she was like, dude, you can't get that, man. If you get that, that's going to literally take up too much real estate in the house, man. And I told her, I said, well, I could put it on the porch, on the patio. And make a long story short, me and her never seen eye to eye to get it. I blame her for it. She ruined my life. No, I'm just playing. Well, I never got it, right? So fast forward, we moved into our dream home, right? And inside this home, we have so much space. It was originally four of us living here. It's three of us. We got a 4-bedroom house with about 3,600 square feet. Okay. Now that's counting our basement. All right. But I have massive room to do everything. I have a full office, right? I had two offices in here and a library, right? I have a full office, right? And I'm like, I was sitting here probably, it wasn't even a year ago, probably about 8 months ago. And I was like, man, I want to get back into cartooning. And so I had my youngest son, Max, I had him download some software onto Apple because he said everybody was using Procreate. All right. So I downloaded that and I have this little Apple. Well, it's not an Apple. This is a pen that interacts with an iPad. Like I got this little thing. So I said, okay, I'm going to start back drawing. And I did. I started back, man, but just still didn't take the time to sit down and look at it. And I was doing something with my AI that day, and I ran across a video of a guy that was talking about how he was being creative and creating animations with AI. And I went in and I watched that YouTube video, and I walked away from there understanding that I could actually use AI and software to create ideas of animations and do digital art where I didn't have to literally sit there and draw it. I can just speak to my AI, communicate to my AI, and it could draw it for me. But then I could do more better with it because it was going to unlock a higher level. And guys, I started playing with that and I got really good at it. I got really good at it. And I got so good at it that I took the little hobby thing. I said, okay, well, let me create me a little small side hustle with this and see if I can get some people to pay me to create these animations for them. And I did. I was able to go out there, sell a few of them, make some money on it, validate the ideal and stuff. And I still have that little entity and that little thing that I got. And so one of the things I came up with was that I didn't want to pursue it as a full blown business. All right, didn't want to do that. All right, because it had too many variables that I didn't want to be present in a business I was going to run. Had trade time for dollars, got to deal with a lot of customers. I like it, don't like it, can't change. Didn't want to deal with all that. Okay. So I was starting to build out that business and that idea. And then I told myself, I said, nah, I say, let's change this up. Let's put the brakes on this. And so I kind of paused that. And the name of that company was Avatar Pop Studios. All right. And I got it in limbo right now. And I started working on my publishing company. But I've been looking at it and thinking about it. And I said, okay, well, I want to take Avatar Pop Studios and I still want to do it as a business and a side hustle, just not a big business and a side hustle. So one of my plans is before January to get in and get everything organized with that, and then really create a plan and a framework for me to do this deal, but just do it in a way to where it's just really like a little side hustle that makes me a little money. And then I can approach it from a hobby still and have fun making this stuff and building out me a portfolio and playing with the software. Because I had got off into video and I was dealing the, and I said I could do this, but then I could make a little money of it. And don't try to grow it big. Just keep it like a hobby slash small side hustle. Maybe do a couple of pieces of client work a month. Okay. So that's what I'm doing with that. Okay. So I want you guys to look at your lives, man. I want you to look at your lives and say, okay, look, this thing of AI, what do I think about it? All right. Am I for it or against it? Why am I for it or against it? And then if I'm for it, then how am I going to approach it? And guys, when I tell you that the best advice I can give you is, if you're for it, is to sit down and figure out a game plan on how to get out there and start studying the industry and start exposing yourself to the communication and the ideals of what's going on in the industry. And then figure out some way that you want to get involved with AI, and then start pursuing how do you do that. All right. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to do it because that's going to take away from it. But start trying to figure out how you're going to do that. You know, and when I tell you that you can use AI to do anything and everything out here, you can do it. Okay. And so with me, I'm a yay for AI. I'm a yay for AI. Most of you guys already know that I'm a yay for AI. Okay. But now you're gonna have to think about it and then cast your vote and make a decision. And that's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. But guys, if you want to figure out a way to create a bridge from where you are to where you're trying to go, right now, I don't think there's no better bridge out there than the technology that we call AI to help you get there. All right. All right, guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. Orville J. Parker, a.k.a. Coach. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Freedom After 40 podcast. All right. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Freedom After 40, where it's never too late to build something new. If today's episode hit home, do me a favor and share it with a fellow Gen Xer who's ready to make their move. And don't forget to grab your free Freedom Blueprint at learndigitaltoday.com. It's the first step to designing your new life. Until next time, keep building, keep dreaming, and remember, freedom isn't a fantasy, it's a plan.